What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope you guys are getting up, feeling well this morning, and having a great start to your weekend. I got you an update like we do every morning on what's going to unfold for today for your Saturday, July 9th. So we're going to try to figure out what's going to happen. We got a flooding risk, we got a severe weather risk, and a severe storm risk. And then, just in general, certain areas will just have a nice Saturday on their hands. So we're going to break down who sees what and who doesn't see anything. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. The growth has been incredibly slow over the last 2 months. And I really, it's been nice. The break has been nice. I really appreciate people responding and dropping some nice comments after I put the community post about taking a break in the evenings with the videos. I appreciate you guys understanding. It's been nice. It really has, a breath of fresh air. But stay tuned. I think by the time we get to the end of July, things are going to start to ramp back up in the tropics. I really do think it is with favorable MJO phasing. We're not in favorable MJO phasing right now. We have a lot of sinking air, a lot of dry air, and things that are just not conducive for tropical development out there. That's why the tropics are very quiet, which a lot of times they are in July. But stay tuned. Things are going to ramp back up, and the evening videos will start dropping more and more. So definitely, if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Hit me up on social media. It's a great way to interact with what I do on there. And, let's just get rolling here. Water vapor loop. There is a complex of storms. You can see in the white here where there's higher water content in the atmosphere here, and that shows it well, with a leftover piece of energy that is sagging south. And the NAM picked up on this very well. I remember talking about this a little bit in the video yesterday morning, and sure enough, the NAM did excellent here in South Carolina and North Carolina. It showed it very well. I didn't get really a drop of rain last night. The storms kind of split us, which is okay. I mean, I'm not really complaining because we've gotten a ton of rain. I have no room to complain at all. But a lot of other areas saw rain that I've heard have not seen as much rain. So we're going to hope that's the case today, that a lot of people see rain that maybe has been skipped, because I've seen a lot of complaints on that. And trust me, been there, done that. It seemed like the first 3 summers I lived here in my house, here just south of Lake Murray, here in Lexington, South Carolina, or just southeast of Lake Murray, it seemed like that we would have these 2 to 3 week intervals in the summer where we just wouldn't get a drop of rain. And, if anybody knows anything about the southeast, deep south, and the heat down here, if you go 2 to 3 weeks without rain, in the south, I mean, your grass, it's like it gets crunchy overnight. I mean, the heat dries everything up very quick, and we just need weekly rains here. We need weekly rains everywhere, really. But anyways, Storm Prediction Center, big slight risk in the northern plains. We'll talk a little bit about that towards the latter half of the video. And then you got a pretty large marginal risk. Anybody in this area could see severe weather, could see flooding. And even outside the marginal risk could see an isolated strong to severe storm, but really anybody. And you notice here in Texas, there's a chance for some strong storms. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I will tell you ahead of time, it doesn't look very widespread in Texas, but we'll take a look at it. And we're going to be focusing on the NAM, by the way, too, in this video, because it's doing a very good job. A 2% risk of a tornado, and this threat up here, as normally when you get to this time of the year, the further north you go, the tornado threat shifts north. The jet stream on average shifts north, and that's when you have your tornado season in the southern plains of Canada, things like that, and then the northern plains of the U.S. So, it's just that time of the year up there. They've had a lot of tornadoes being reported over the last 7 to 10 days in areas of Canada. So that's very typical to July and this time of the year. Hail threat, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the wind threat. Wind threat will be there, 5% chance of damaging winds occurring at 25 miles in a given location. So certain areas, you get under a really intense storm, you can certainly get damaging winds. But with these storms up here, it's going to be very active, So if you're in Montana, especially eastern Montana, almost the entire state of North Dakota, but especially the western portion of the state, watch out for damaging winds. You also have that Hatch Ridge. That is a 10% chance of seeing winds pushing 65 knots or higher. That is around 70 to 75 miles per hour. 10% chance in 25 miles in any given location. That's pushing hurricane strength, guys. So definitely watch out. Hail threat, kind of the same area, highlighting the same area, a little different, but in general, there will be a large hail threat too, including the Hatch region, which is the black outline region, which is a 10% chance to see 2-inch diameter or larger hail in this range right here, 25 miles any given location. The flood threat will be a big deal. You know, you've had flooding. The NAM picked up on it yesterday. You've had flooding in and around northern VA, Washington, D.C. A lot of rain is falling in this region right now. In fact, we'll go on and switch to radar scope here and look at this. This is the rain falling south of Washington, D.C. You got a flood warning right here. So, you know, just be careful in this region of the country. This region of Virginia, Maryland, and the Delmarva area right now. You just got, you know, convection, showers and storms that keep on forming and going over the same area. And this is a lot of heavy rain, not necessarily severe storms, but just heavy tropical downpours just south of Washington and Baltimore. Right in this area right here north of Richmond, Virginia. So please be careful. But there is also a slight risk, that is at least a 15% chance of flash flood guidance being met in this yellow area. That is a slight risk here. So a large area of North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina have a flooding risk today. And that is because multiple complexes of storms have a chance to form with these outflow boundaries, what we call rain-cooled air. Many cold fronts, if you will, like to form storms, and sometimes they'll go over the same areas or blow up convection over the same area over and over again. You can get 1 to 2 inches of rain. These are very tropical downpours also. So if you get rain, I mean, it is going to absolutely unload on you if you get a storm that hits your area. It's going to be a big time tropical air mass in this region. So a flooding threat definitely there in portions of the mid-Atlantic and the southeast today. You keep rolling. The warnings as far as these heat warnings, heat advisories is what I'm trying to say, excessive heat warnings are there. It is still just going to be brutal in this part of the country. I really feel bad for you folks. You know, I really do. There's a town in Kentucky, western Kentucky, that just really needs water also. And I didn't realize how much of a crisis it was until I saw the comments over the last several days. And they need water. I think it's called Maryville. You know, I'm sorry if I butchered the name. But I think that was the name of the town in western Kentucky. But, you know, they're going under a big time water crisis right now. They need the rain. A levee broke in that area. So thoughts and prayers up for that region. That is definitely an isolated crisis, if you will, that I think a lot of people in the country don't know about. But they need the rain, and they need water in general. But the heat is going to be bad. You know, in general, the ridge has kind of flexed a little bit. Not flexed, but it's actually kind of buckled a little bit more south. So it's not, you know, the heat isn't as bad today for a more larger area. But the excessive heat warnings, I mean, this is high humidity. Temperatures well over 100 degrees in these areas. So very hot temperatures in areas in Mississippi, southern Arkansas, and northern Louisiana, and then northeast Texas, where heat indices will likely get over 105 to 110 degrees. So brutal stuff out there. So I know we're 8 minutes in. We're just talking about how the rain could unfold today, but stick with me. I'm going to break down each region that has that marginal risk today. So we'll talk about the Carolinas first, and we'll break this down. Let's make sure this is in 1 hour intervals. So this is this morning. It's picking up okay on what is going on, but it's going to try to do something with this energy that's kind of left over from this complex of storms that I just showed you on the water vapor loop. And it's going to try to re-energize it as it enters the upstate of South Carolina, northern VA. And then this could evolve into a pretty intense line of storms that works its way through Atlanta, all the way through northeast Georgia, through Augusta, Georgia, all the way to Columbia, maybe all the way up to Charlotte. The NAM likes the idea of a big complex of storms working through around mid to the later part of this afternoon. So watch out this evening. You got any Saturday evening activities in Georgia and throughout the entire state of South Carolina and North Carolina. A kind of an odd-shaped line of storms that might be just working its way. These are always driven by outflow boundaries in these kind of setups, meaning the storms blow up, they spread out rain-cooled air from the storm, and then the rain-cooled air basically hits warm, humid air. Cold air is dense, so it doesn't really rise like warm air does. So, you know, the rain-cooled air smacks the humid air, causes the warm humid air to rise, which causes additional storm development sometimes. That's how it works. One day I'm going to hop on here when there's a good example of this happening in real time, and I almost did the other day, but then I got distracted and a couple things went on, and I'm going to show you a great example of an outflow boundary if y'all are lost every time I mention it. But hit me up on Twitter. I'm telling you, follow me on Twitter, and I'm always showing examples of it here in my neck of the woods because it happens almost every day in the summer, it seems like, especially lately. But here we go. These storms could be working through the Carolinas. They might weaken in South Carolina. They might continue to move south in areas of Georgia, right down here. Watch out, Savannah. And then check out Raleigh later this evening, 7, 8 p.m. These storms could be working through the entire eastern portion of North Carolina, and then a lot of rain also falling in Virginia too, in southeast Virginia. And these storms will be working through, and then maybe additional convection overnight forms, showers and storms. Watch out, Greenville, Spartanburg area. More storms can form as this front that's sitting right over here that will continue to sag south. I mean, as long as that boundary's there, more tropical downpours are going to continue to form. What we call precipitation values will be over 2 inches, which in general, just know that that means that these storms are going to absolutely unload tons of rain. You know, there was a guy that got an inch and a quarter of rain in 15 minutes up here in Jefferson, South Carolina last night. I mean, it's just going to unload. It really is. So if you get under one of these storms, and you haven't seen a lot of rain, you're going to see a lot of it quick. My folks in the deep south, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, areas of Tennessee, here's how it could unfold today for you folks. You know, kind of quiet for most of the day, the afternoon, maybe some storms up near Huntsville, Alabama as you're approaching the early to mid part of the afternoon. And then I think very quickly, I hate when it does this, that's why I don't use Weather Bell when it comes to these, but very quickly, you know, probably later this afternoon, maybe some big time storms forms just south of Nashville. I know you folks in Memphis really need the rain. I'm hearing a lot of people saying they need the rain in Memphis. If we're going off the NAM, you're going to whiff today. You are. But let's hope that these storms form quicker. But as you're getting into 6, 7, 8 p.m., some storms could be ranging all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana, through central to northern areas of Mississippi, and then approaching Birmingham, Alabama. Nasty storms per the NAM showing up and heading towards your area as you're getting your nighttime activities on, or if you're laying the kids down or having dinner, whatever you may be doing. This big old area of storms could be starting to work its way through Alabama, Mississippi, and then eventually overnight into the middle of the night make its way all the way into the panhandle of Florida, affect areas like Mobile and places like that, Mobile, Alabama. So we'll see how that unfolds. And then my folks in Texas that I know really need the rain, we'll stop it right here. This is for 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and maybe some showers, some storms popping up. I know you barely see it on the screen. That's because, well, it's extremely isolated and small. But then by the time you get maybe to the mid part of this afternoon, maybe 3, 4, 5 o'clock, maybe some storms firing up around Dallas, Fort Worth area, out to Abilene, Texas, central, maybe a storm or two near Austin, Texas. We'll see how this works out. But as you can tell, as we get into the evening hours and the overnight hours, it just the chances look very low. If you get an isolated downpour anywhere in the heart of Texas, from west to east, east to west, consider yourself very, very lucky because it's going to be very isolated. I'm going to talk about this area right here, Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, northern VA, areas of Maryland. You guys could see a lot of rain. You're seeing a lot of it this morning, but the NAM is not verifying very well. There's not really much rain at all this far north. All of it's down here. But in general, additional rain will continue to form. And what's happening is there's a front draped across this area right here, and it's continuing to move south. So the rain and showers that continue to form along this boundary, which is the frontal boundary, will continue to sag south with it, but it's sagging so south so slow that storms, tropical downpours continue to develop in the same region. So we're getting into this afternoon. This is around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You still got a lot of rain continuing to form in West Virginia, the entire state of Virginia. The Delmarva area continues to see a lot of rain. So if you got any outdoor activities in this region of the country, just know that you might as well cancel them because you're just going to see a lot of showers and storms. The severe weather threat not as high, but just more so just tropical downpours forming in this area. Rainfall expected between right now and tomorrow morning. A lot of rain could fall in eastern North Carolina. In fact, before we drop to that, I'll mention, Alabama, things like that. You can tell that the National Weather Service, which is what this is really leaning towards the NAM, and it shows a lot of rain falling in Alabama today, areas of maybe southern Mississippi, and then a lot of rain in South Carolina, even northern Georgia. Tennessee could see a lot of rain today, and then areas of the Carolinas, and then more rain will continue to fall around the Washington, Baltimore area, Maryland, the Delmarva area. We'll see a lot of rain today, and then you zone in to this region. It's saying between right now and tomorrow morning, maybe as much as 1 to 3 inches of rain can fall, but a lot of this is picking up on what has already fell throughout the last few hours. But you drop this down into North and South Carolina, a lot of rain can fall, especially the entire eastern half of North Carolina, northeast North Carolina. A lot of rain could fall today, but you can't take this as what exactly is going to happen, because the one area that's forecasted by this to see maybe 1.5 inches of rain, like maybe Raleigh, might whiff today. The storms might split the area and you don't see as much rain. So a lot of rain has the potential to fall across the southeast today for sure. Northeast, pretty quiet weather. You guys have had an excellent summer. I mean, yeah, there's been a couple hot days, just like there is any summer. But I tell you what, you guys have been north of that high pressure boundary. You've had nice dry air, and you guys continue to enjoy a pretty chill summer out here, and it's going to continue to be the case today. Very nice weather for the Northeast. No rain expected. That boundary's right down here, and really from Pennsylvania points northeast, very nice. Even Ohio, Michigan, very nice weather today. The South Central U.S. I just mentioned. Texas, isolated downpours are possible today. So, I wouldn't even say be careful, because I don't think any of these really are going to be real severe. But hopefully you guys get some beneficial downpours in areas that need it the most down here in Texas. But everybody north of this, pretty quiet weather. Just pretty warm, pretty hot, and not a lot going on. The North Central U.S., pretty quiet. Not really a whole lot going on. I mean, just really quiet weather. Maybe an isolated storm tries to enter the picture in far northern areas of Minnesota later tonight. But other than that, nice weather for sure. Now, my folks in Montana, same kind of directional flow with basically this big ridge that's done built into the middle of the country. But it's flattened somewhat, so that means the storms are going to ride into Montana this afternoon and this evening, and then begin to shift their motion from southwest to northeast to more of just west to east. So these storms are going to be pretty big in Montana today and have a threat for all hazards, but really damaging winds and large hail are the biggest threat. And then they'll really start to make a lot of noise well after the sun goes down, as they start to enter areas of southern Canada and then North Dakota into the overnight hours. But be careful in this area of Montana complex. The storms will move through, make a lot of ruckus, and you guys have seen a lot of that over the last few days. But the temperatures are going to be brutal again for the same areas. I apologize on behalf of Mother Nature for you folks in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. I mean, it's just been awful in this part of the country. I don't know how many records y'all have broke, but it's going to be another hot day. Luckily for Missouri, not as bad today, as this frontal boundary, you can actually tell where it is, where there's just rain continuously forming, but not as much rain today for this part of the frontal boundary. But in general, just very hot temperatures, very uncomfortable, and hopefully you guys get a break soon. I really hope you do, or at least some rain to go along with these very hot temperatures. But I think you'll have a lot of cloud cover in areas of the southeast today. This might limit temperatures, but I still think it'll get very hot. But rain-cooled air in this area, West Virginia, VA, where just more convection showers and storms continue to fire over the same areas. But in general, that's pretty much it, guys. A nice day north of the frontal boundary, 70s and 80s in the Ohio Valley. Very nice for, early to mid-July standards. Very nice temperatures up here. But y'all guys have a great Saturday. God bless all y'all. I should have a video tonight just talking about a couple things. But have a good day.